So my parents started taking me to a youth group right away when I was in 6th grade. That's where I really started to understand what a relationship with Christ looked like, and I decided to have Christ be a part of my life. I made friends there right away, and even some of my friends from school started coming along. Throughout the years at youth group, I went on every retreat or camping trip that I could go to. I craved to spend time with those friends and with my youth pastor and all the leaders there. I developed lots of friendships there and relationships that are still pretty present in my life now. And it's almost as if God just handed me this ideal group of friends on like a silver platter. It was perfect, and I couldn't have asked for any better community than what I had in high school and the friends that I was surrounded with.
So basically, growing up, I was the ultimate sheltered kid. I grew up into this church. My parents were extremely devout Christians, and they still are. They're great influences in my life. And they had started this church basically, and I grew up into it. From an early age, from kindergarten on to 8th grade, I went to this really small Christian school. It was 80 kids, K through 12th grade. It was a very staunchly Christian school, and I really enjoyed my time there. It was interesting though, because my faith was kind of handed to me. I felt like it was more given to me and kind of spoon-fed to me, and I didn't have to do a lot for myself. Even throughout, then I went on to a Catholic high school, and my faith was still kind of handed to me. It was a great experience. I'm not saying that I really enjoyed K through 8th grade and at my little Christian school, and then high school at 9th through 12th grade at my Catholic school, but I was really sheltered, and I came to know that I was really sheltered once I decided to go to the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh.
Little did I know that this community that I was experiencing at the time isn't just out there anywhere, and I found that out pretty quickly when I left to go to college after I graduated high school. I decided I had to be on a baton twirling team at a major university, so I looked up teams to try out, and the University of Kentucky I found to be a pretty good fit for my twirling skills and for the major that I wanted. I made the team, and I was really excited to just leave the small town Winneconne, Wisconsin girl and go to Kentucky and show everybody how cool I was. So I told myself that I would stick to my Christian morals when I went to college. I didn't want to get into drinking and partying. I wanted to stay pure, but I immediately realized that I didn't know anybody in Kentucky. I left all my friends and family 9 hours away, and I was all by myself. Many of the people I was surrounded by were involved in drinking and partying, and it didn't take long for me to fall into the temptation and do the things that they were doing. Because if I wanted to have friends and I wanted to have community around me, I had to do what they were doing, and they made it look like fun, and so that's what I did.
So I went with a few of my friends to this house party. I didn't really know what I was getting into. I was just kind of hoping to hang out, and this was my first time even out of the dorms really. And I remember walking in and seeing alcohol everywhere, all types of alcohol, and marijuana everywhere. And this really scared me. I remember sitting in the couch and kind of shaking and sweating, and I just was like, I needed to get out. Fortunately, I was able to get out. Me and my buddy just went to go get some food. Which was good, and then we ended up heading back to the dorms. But this first experience really scared me, and it stuck with me, and it still is with me. And I remember after that, kind of those next few weeks, that was very early on in my first semester here at Oshkosh, and it really kind of scared me. I had gone through kind of this searching time where I really was like, did I make the mistake in coming here, and am I in a really foreign land that I will never be able to get used to? And so I remember one day, it was after class, and I went to the library, and I was in my little cubicle studying hard, and I took out my devotional and my Bible, and I read a bit of my devotional, and the verse that went along with that day was, God works all things together for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. And that really hit me hard, because I had gone through a lot of, God, I kind of think I made a mistake. Should I have looked harder at other schools? I did this really big cycle that was really stressful for me and anxious for me to think about I think I made a mistake in coming here. And then I I read that verse, and I still remember sitting in the library and actually starting to cry. It meant a lot to me to read that verse, and that knowing that God does work all things together for the good, and He was with me in this experience that I was with, and I could be content in knowing that.
A lot of the friendships that I did have, they were bad influences and just not deep or meaningful for me. They were shallow, and I think the main thing, the worst part about having those friendships was feeling lonely and having that sense of loneliness all the time, not having any community around me that supported me, and that is what eventually made me decide to leave. And I knew I had to change my life, and coming home back where I could be close to my friends and family here in my home church is the decision that I made, that I thought I needed to do. Oshkosh seemed like the perfect fit for me to come back and be around the people that I loved and that loved me. I knew a couple of people from my youth group back in the day that were now involved in Cru on their campuses. So I wanted to try it out, and because mostly I wanted a sense of that community again that I had back in high school. It was pretty cool, and I was nervous at first, but it ended up being not as scary as I had originally thought. I went on fall retreat, and I made a bunch of friends.
And I was fortunate to hear about Cru back in my hometown, and my parents were very adamant about me getting plugged into a Christian organization. And Cru was such a blessing. I remember kind of being nervous going to the first couple meetings, and the weekly meetings, and just kind of being like, okay, like this is cool. Didn't know a lot of people, but I stayed with it, and eventually I became a lot more involved in a small group. I immediately bonded with those guys. A staff member put it on, and it was just a great experience to just be with other Christians and take kind of a step away from maybe my soccer team and just the rest of this environment that I had really struggled with. It was just such a blessing to be in this community where I was able to grow more comfortable and to be around my brothers and sisters in Christ who were there to encourage me and there to care for me. And without Cru, it really would have been a struggle. Cru was a great experience, and I'm happy to be even more involved this year.
I was glad and thankful that the Lord brought me to this point in my journey, and He had brought me back to Oshkosh to be around these people.
One of the best decisions I made in coming to college was getting plugged in to a caring community that was passionate about pointing people to Jesus.